G'day everyone, Coach Craig Rowe here with yet another episode of the Coach Approach. And today I'm going to be talking about the number one mistake I think new basketball coaches make. So stick around. Coach Craig Rowe from OzSwoosh Academy here. And if this is your first time here and you're a beginner teacher or coach, this is the channel where we help you help others by sharing information to help you improve your athletes. If you haven't yet taken a moment to support the channel, the easiest way you can do that is by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. It takes all of 2 seconds, and that will help us help you help others. So we want to help you over the course of our journey improve your athletes. And the way we do that is by sharing content with you daily here on the OzSwoosh YouTube channel. Now, this episode of the Coach Approach, I'm going to share with you a mistake that I made when I was first a young coach, like 30 years ago. I'm obviously older now. But before I do that, I want to let you know that at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a way that you can connect with me in real time. If you have any real questions in real life where we can interact, I'll tell you how you can interact with me in real time and have any questions or just a general conversation about basketball. I'd love to connect with you. So stick around and I'll tell you how you can do that. But firstly, let's get into today's topic. So the number one mistake that I think new basketball coaches make, and as I said, I've been a victim of doing this myself, is they drill athletes, they don't actually teach. Now, when I first started coaching, I used to find heaps of drills. I wanted to fill my training sessions with drill. That sounds great, but the problem with that is when I would run the drills, I wouldn't provide feedback to my athletes. And providing feedback is teaching. So when I say drilling versus teaching, what I'm saying is that the teaching element's actually missing. People are just drilling. So important thing when you're teaching kids is that you have to understand, yes, you do need drills, and yes, you have to teach drills. I'm not saying they're not important. They're the core of the way you actually set teaching up. And that's a good way to describe it, is you're actually setting a teaching environment up. That's what a drill is. It's a structure where you can get repetitive movements to execute teaching. Now, what separates teaching? Let's have a look. 3 things I believe actually help you change your drills to teachings. First one is, as a coach, you must have a critical eye. You've got to have what we call a coach's eye. This is where you watch athletes as they go through in your drill and they execute the skill and you provide feedback. Now, a lot of coaches, all they do is they will say comments, often to encourage their athletes, which I understand, but it doesn't add any real value or feedback to the execution of the skill for the athlete. So, for example, a lot of coaches will just stand and they'll go, good job, well done, nice, as athletes go through. Now, I don't know of too many teams where every athlete that goes through a drill actually does everything perfectly. So therefore, it should be a coach's role to help identify those things that athletes may well not be doing. It's not to say encouragement isn't important. In a future episode, I'll talk about methods of encouragement and the sandwich approach and things like that. So I don't want to underemphasize the importance of giving positive feedback. But you've also got to give negative feedback. So as an athlete may go through on a drill, let's say for a layup, for example, you may need to say, good effort, you need to keep your eyes up, and you need to make sure you land balanced, but good job. Okay, that was the sandwich method, if you saw what I did there. If not, I'll explain all that in a future episode. But the concept of providing feedback is extremely important to your athletes to help them improve their skill execution, especially on areas that they need work. And if you don't cast that critical eye, how are they going to know whether their skill execution has been correct? Now, the second part of drilling versus teaching. So what separates just drilling and what separates teaching is that when you do the repetitive movements, which are important, that's your drill, you have to add points of emphasis to get the same repetitive movements. You want the same actions. So for example, if I'm coaching someone in defense, I want to use terminology like you're sitting in a chair. Be in your defensive stance. Get in your stance like you're sitting in a chair. So I'll give them that visual of sitting in a chair to help them understand what's expected. So we call those points of emphasis. In last week's episode on focus, I talked about look at the ring, see the court. That's a point of emphasis. So having repetitive movements comes from repetitive language. So make sure when you provide your feedback that you're not only giving them the things they need, you're also repeating the things you want. And the last thing, and the reason we do the repetitive movement, which technically is the drill, is because we want to build what we call muscle memory. So if you're not getting an ultimate goal, which could be 2, 3, 4 years down the track of developing muscle memory, then you're not doing the right thing by your athletes. And the way they do that is to execute skills the same way each time, which is why you need the critical eye. So can you see how all these three things all tie together and are extremely important? So ultimately, skills are just habits. In their simplest form, what we're trying to do is form simple habits with our athletes, which we happen to give the terminology skills. So at its core, the difference between drilling and teaching is drilling tends to miss the critical eye components, the points of emphasis, and therefore the muscle memory doesn't come as quickly. It doesn't necessarily always mean it won't come. And I'm not suggesting that, play-based learning or random practice as opposed to block practice or traditional aren't separate methods of also teaching. But we're talking about teaching as how you, as the coach, actually instruct. After all, as a coach, you are actually a teacher. So a coach is a teacher of sport, or in some cases, maybe life if you're a life coach. But normally coaches are attributed to being involved in sport. So the term is really, if you're a sports teacher, you're actually a coach. So understand the difference between drilling and teaching. Now, earlier in this episode, I said you can connect with me in real life. How you can do that is through the app Clubhouse. So OzSwoosh is now on Clubhouse. So if you have the app and you want to connect in real time in audio, it's an audio only app. It's currently only on iOS 13 and above and is invite only. But if you're already on the app, then by all means, feel free to add me at OzSwoosh. Follow me and I will follow you back, and we can create rooms and we can chat about things that interest you to help you help others. So if you're not on the app, please do not send me any requests or message for invites. I have exhausted all my invites, so I cannot invite you to the app. It is an invite-only platform at the moment. However, if you are already on the app, I would absolutely love for you to follow me and I'll follow you back so we can have interactions in real time on these topics. And that, my friends, is another episode of the Coach Approach. I hope you've got something out of what I've said today. And if you have and want to give it a like, please give it a like. If you have a question because you don't have Clubhouse, please ask it in the comments below and I'll try to get back to you in the comments and or in a future episode. I have done that in previous episodes that responded to questions. Then please, by all means, comment. I do want to engage and help you help others. And that's it. Another episode of the Coach Approach. I hope you join me next week, next Friday, for another one. Catch you later. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Coach Approach. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take time to leave a like. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet subscribed, and also feel free to share your own experience in the comments below. We hope to see you again in the next one.